Hey everyone, it's Celine, and welcome to the Vegan Stew. This is episode number 16, and this is like the second time I'm doing this because I thought we were live and we weren't. So here we go. Let's see. Topic tonight is going to be vegan support or lack thereof, because how many of us, when we went vegan, got crap for it? So we're going to delve into that. And, if you're newly vegan or if you're not newly vegan, it's a good topic for you. So please join us. Remember to put your comments or questions in the little box and we'll definitely address them. Thank you to Fabulous for being our sponsor this month for Virtual Veg Fest Live and this too. And you can go to virtualvegfest.com to enter a contest to win prize packs from Fabulous, Hodo Foods, Follow Your Heart, TerraSeed, Revolution Gelato, and Cinnaholic. I got them all. Yes. So you do that, enter a wish bond. You can do things like subscribe on YouTube to the Vegan Stew and to Virtual Veg Fest. And you get like some nifty extra points for doing that. You can win one of those really cool prize packs. Let's see. Questions, comments, subscribe, hit the notification button, do all those things. And also go check out Urban Eats, Did You Bring the Hummus, Tilted Planet, Vegan Street, Be Kind, and Plant Powered Studios, because they're all part of the show too. I'm going to bring them on. Here we go. We have Dawn from Urban Eats. We have Kimberly from Did You Bring the Hummus? We have Marla from Vegan Street. We have Sankita, Tilted Planet. And we have Laura from Plant Powered Studios. And here we go. Now, I can't guarantee there's going to be as many fireworks this week, but hey, you'd never know. What are we going to talk about in current events, Marla?
Well, I just have two quick stories. The first is that this is just from the last couple of weeks. Last week, there's a new global survey that a chocolate company came up with. They researched, talked to about 3,200 millennials and Zoomers, and 60%, and this is a global survey, 60% said that they expect the brands that they buy from to offer a vegan, or I'm sorry, a plant-based option. So that thing that's interesting to me about that is that a similar research in Western Europe among some of the area that was queried in this one showed in 2020 only 25% was expecting that of the brands they supported. So I thought that was really interesting and cool. And then the second story, real quick, is a new study published in the Journal of Molecular Nutrition and Food Research found that a diet rich in certain plant foods reduces the risk of cognitive impairment and dementia. So those foods tend to be polyphenol-rich foods like apples, blueberries, pomegranates, green tea, cocoa. And anyway, we know that plant-based foods does the whole body good. And that is going to be the Vegan Street meme for tomorrow, probably. So anyway, I just thought that was a nice story.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Dawn, you've got something too, right?
Right. This is an old story, though. It was 2020, but we shared it in our internal team, so we thought to bring it out. According to BBC, a 2016 Pew Research study from 2016, BBC and Washington Post did a story that said that African Americans are almost three times more likely to be vegan or vegetarian, depending on which study you looked at, which news media you watched. BBC said one thing, you know how it is, not quite the same, but almost three times more likely to be vegan than other overall Americans. And that was an interesting, whereas other Americans are 3%, African Americans 8%. So those are the stats. And that's from 2016. I imagine that number's probably gone up. And I think it's attributed to quite a bit of, some of this vegan influencers that are in the hip hop culture or the community culture. A lot of that is that. And a good number of African Americans come in because of the health disparities, right? So, kind of taking control of food sovereignty, food health, and, food justice. So it's almost like an act of, kind of activism in communities of color. So kind of taking a hold to that. So it's just good news. It's just a matter of, keep getting that vegetation out there, keep vegetating, because that is what makes a difference in the communities of color, and of course, the taste. So can't lead with the animals, although I tried many times to lead with the animal discussion. Doesn't work as well as leading with lasagna at a church function. That works much better. Or chili, and then some good food, and then talking about, saving auntie and grandpa. That seems to be much more, because we lead in all the top chronic diseases by a long shot, even though we're only 13% of the population. So it's really, I'm excited about that. But it's 2020 study. Sorry about that little pop in. Can't get my phone together today.
But you're on do not disturb mode, right?
No, I'm on airplane mode. I couldn't find do not disturb. We're just about to see what happens.
You're here. That's
anything happens on the studio, so we can see. So
That is true. That's the beauty of being live. Laura, do you have something to share?
I really don't, to be honest. Not gonna lie, already this week it's just been a lot of work and no scrolling. So I haven't really had time to catch up on all my interesting vegan news or inventions. Yeah, I have nothing.
You know what I tried? You know what I tried in New York City? So we didn't talk about the plant-based world.
Potato milk?
I tried banana milk.
Banana milk. Yes.
Banana milk. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so
They had
good.
a plain one and a strawberry one. And
Yes.
I thought I was going to like the plain one better because the strawberries, you grew up with quick. Well,
Yeah.
I grew up with quick. And I never ate strawberry quick. But
Yeah.
the strawberry one was actually better.
Yeah.
Than the
I
plain
like
one.
dipping vanilla wafers in banana milk. Amazing.
Is this prepackaged?
Yeah. So who was it that does? I think it's Almond Breeze. That's the one I get that does their own almond milk or their own banana milk.
It's called
Okay.
Moolah, I think. Moolah.
Oh, is that the one you had? Yeah, there's a couple different companies that do it, but it's just fun. Like when I was growing up, because we didn't have a whole bunch of money on my cereal, when we didn't have money for soy milk, which was Eden soy back in the day, I would use orange juice on my cereal. And so that was my milk. So, I'm very apt to pretty much try any vegan milk for fun.
I can say that apple cider plus granola is very tasty together.
It is. Yes. I also love apple cider mimosas.
This is definitely
I saw an interesting story on the number. Somebody did a video YouTube. I wish I knew his name. There are only 5 almonds in a silk bottle, a silk container of almond milk.
Wow.
Is anybody heard of that? That there's a lot of emulsifiers and other things like that.
Mostly
Has
water.
anybody?
Water
And emulsifiers and flavoring, but only like 5 almonds. That makes, and I think it was a certain segment. It wasn't the whole container, but it was
like a serving.
Yeah, and I think some of the different brands have there's one particular brand that has I can't remember the name of it. Has a lot of almond milk in it. Well, plant nuts and
of almonds in it, right?
No, or the cashew or the hazelnut. There's another brand that has hazelnut. But I just thought about that.
That might be Elmhurst.
Yeah.
Elmhurst, Elmhurst has milk cashew is very specific about the amount, and it leads in the ingredients in the back.
It's a really good brand. It's very limited ingredients. Go ahead, Sangeeta.
So if you have ever made your own nut milk, you will know that without knowing that the store-bought milk does not have as many nuts in it. And the quality, you just know it, because if you make homemade almond milk, it actually tastes like almonds.
Okay. I've made rice milk, but almonds, I think there's a more of a workman's process, and I'm busy working food. I have rice milk has been. Isn't there something you have to do with the almonds, or is cashew something has
you have to milk
rice
them.
is very easy. No.
You have to milk the almonds.
Yes, but there's some kind of. Isn't there? Tell me, Sangeeta, what's the process? Because
you just have to soak it. You just have to soak it. If it is cashew, soak it like maybe just 4 hours, and you don't even have to strain it. Just if you started with a cup of cashew, put 4 cups of water and just blend it in a good blender, and that's it. You can
Oh.
strain it if you really want.
Right, the cheesecloth, you can strain it out,
yeah,
right? With the
yeah.
cheesecloth. Mhm.
Now, almond, you do have to strain it because it's the skin.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
But the way I make almond yogurt is instead of straining it, I take the skin out of the almonds after soak them overnight, and take the skin out of each almond, and then blend it and keep all that pulp inside, and then turn it into yogurt. I have a recipe I can share.
Oh, please share that one. Please
yeah,
share that.
Yeah,
Please
that
share
sounds
that.
great.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Mhm.
And the other
Yeah.
thing you can do, like we did over the pandemic, is I bought an almond cow. So it makes it so you don't have to actually milk the almonds. It actually keeps
Right.
that in
Yeah.
the pulp is separated, and you use a decent amount of almonds to get a decent amount of milk. I gave up on that because I gave up on trying to figure out how to use the pulp. Yeah, Renew definitely wants you to share your almond
Sure. Yeah.
yogurt recipe. So
yeah,
definitely get
I
that in the
will.
comments. Thank you.
Well, and the
Yeah,
pulp
we
is
want that.
great
That's good.
for pie crust. That's what
Mhm.
almond milk pulp is really great for too. Is just pressing it with dates into a pie crust, or a tart,
How many
or something like that.
pies can you eat in a month? It's that would be weekly.
I mean, you want to challenge me?
No, I don't want to be part of that challenge. You can totally do it. I make cashew milk now because I'm able to use the pulp and put it
Right.
back into the Vitamix and turn it into more milk. So I have zero waste whatsoever.
Mhm.
I was dehydrating the almond pulp into flour. So I'd have organic
Oh,
almond
that's
flour,
good
which
use.
was
Mhm.
which is awesome. But
Mhm.
that again is
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That time thing. The almond cow saves time. The pulp adds time.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I'm
it's the
so
best
cheap.
milk.
I'm so cheap. I'm so cheap. Almond cow. My wallet was like, no, $250. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Where
That's why
is-
oat
The
milk
amount
is
of
so
money
easy.
I'm
yeah, oat milk is
saving.
easy, right? Oat
Mhm.
milk I
Yeah.
made before too. The rice and the oat milk seems
Yep.
easy. But thanks for
Yep.
yeah, it's good. Mhm.
So, what's everyone's favorite milk brand? Just out of curiosity, like if you had to buy it from the store, what's your go-to?
My go-to is cheapy Trader Joe's the non-refrigerated, the kind
Yeah.
of shelf stable. I
Mhm.
like the shelf stable unsweetened, unflavored variations because they're $1.99.
Yeah.
So it's Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. Both of them are pretty cheap. Because I like the shelf stable to keep them for as long as I can. So
Yeah.
that's what I usually go to if I'm in the store.
Yeah. How about you, Helene? What's your
Well,
go-to?
It's only when we travel. So like tomorrow, we'll
Mhm.
probably pick up some plant-based milk in the store. I'll lean towards Oatly because
Mhm.
the oat milk
Mhm.
doesn't
Mhm.
have oil in it, as
Mhm.
opposed to the other oat milk brands that do have oil in them. I tried not milk or unmilk, which not milk, right? That's in
Nut
the
milk,
fridge
yeah.
now. Yeah, and the second ingredient is sunflower oil.
Mhm.
Not a fan. You can kind of taste it even. So I got it for free to try it and to do a review. And I think it's great for cooking. Oh, Pacific Oat Milk
Okay.
from
Yes, that's a good one. And that one's
from
shelf
Richard.
stable too.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of where
Pacific Oat
we only
Milk.
pretty much do that when we travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've not heard of Pacific. Richard said Pacific. I've never heard of that one.
Oh,
Is
it's
that-
really good. Yeah.
Is it?
They have shelf
Pacific.
stable too, which is really great.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it? Anyway,
I think I get mine from Whole Foods, I want to say.
Pacific. Okay.
Pacific.
It may not be $1. It may not be $1.99.
It
so I
is
might
definitely
run.
not.
I
I'm pretty sure it's
might
not.
No way.
take a beeline now. I might go that way. Like,
340
oh,
That's the
yeah.
minimum.
Like Elmhurst. I love
I love
Elmhurst.
Kimberly. She's like, Price is right over there. Like, this is exactly how much it costs. What do we have for her, Bob?
I had Elmhurst free one time, but Elmhurst, I bought it for like 2 or 3, and I was like, I can't afford it, but it's so delicious. But
Yeah.
nah. Mhm.
Yeah. I'm an Oatly fan myself. It really depends on what I'm making too. I have different milks for different cuisines or different things. Like I like the not milk as a coffee creamer, just because it's so thick and flavorful. I don't need a lot of it, and it lasts me like 3 weeks. And I drink a lot of coffee.
Oh,
If
that's
anyone
funny.
knows me well. So Kimberly, how about you? What's your favorite milk?
Honestly, my grocery store mostly has Silk, and I like the soy milk, so I get the unsweetened soy milk in the green container. Yeah, that's my
Nice.
fave. Yeah.
Nice. Sangita?
I don't like any store bought.
She makes hers. That's good.
Props.
I make my own if I want. And I have actually gone beyond, like, I just think that we don't need milk,
Mhm.
period, whether it's
Mhm.
not like vegan or not. So I've very
Yeah.
rarely, if I feel like eating cereal or whatever, I make my own almond milk. But
Yeah. I mean, you can always use orange juice too.
yeah. There you go.
Mhm.
All right, I can't wait
I
to
will
hear what
try
Marlon
that.
says.
I will
Yeah.
try that.
Hey, it's not that bad. It's really not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura's really pushing that orange juice. Yeah.
I am. I'm telling you, get that vitamin C.
No, myself, I've never been a big milk person. So
Mhm.
my guys in the house do, have cereal every morning. So I go the cheap route, like Dawn, just get the almond milk. And well, one thing I was going to mention, first of all, is instead of needing to take the skins off the almonds, if you make it from home, you could also buy slivered or, when you buy almonds.
The raw, right? But is it raw? The raw slivered, right? They have the
Right.
raw
You can
Yeah,
always
raw,
get that
yeah.
without that. And then the other thing I was going to mention is just Elmhurst Dairy was mentioned before. Just a really quick little tidbit about them is they were an old time actual dairy. I don't know, 80, 100 years old. And they saw the writing on the wall and transitioned everything to plant-based when the new generation took over. So I thought that was a feel-good
That's
story.
pretty cool.
No, that's a good reason to support them. That they did 100. They went 100.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
And it's
They
really
have, they have a
reasonable.
pistachio milk that's like
Yeah.
amazing.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And they're
also
coming out
like
with chocolate,
macadamia too.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Oh, I can't find that often, but when I do, I
The
get it.
macadamia
So
Elmer's.
good.
Oh,
Yes.
it's so good.
Oh,
Yep.
so good.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We have gone off all the way to the plant.
Hey, vegan milk's
We're
a hot
not-
topic.
We're talking about milk or orange juice.
knew?
And just so everyone knows, like, this is what our conversations are like when we're not live. This is what happens. Here's a little insight for you. Let's see what Renew has said. My husband and I have recently become vegan. Oh, congratulations. I feel a difference in my body and energy level. I agree with Sangeeta that we really don't need milk. I make almond milk at home and use coconut milk for a few recipes, which I buy from the store. Well, then you might be the
Coconut milk,
perfect person, Renew.
Yeah.
Like, what did people say to you when you decided to go vegan? Because our main topic tonight is support or lack thereof when you decide to go vegan. Because what happens? I can go back to when I decided to go vegetarian, and my brothers were like real dicks. They were like, "That's not gonna last. There's no way. You don't eat any vegetables." Because Kimberly and I are very similar in that way. We did not eat pretty much any vegetables when we made the decision to go vegetarian so long ago. And I just learned to like vegetables, not all vegetables. You don't have to like every food. Just so you know, I get a lot of crap still for not eating mushrooms, but you don't have to eat every food on the planet in order to eat and eat well. Just saying. So I want to hear what everyone has to say. Like, what kind of crap did you get? And what kind of support do you have now? I'm very thankful for a partner that is incredibly supportive. However, I have been with ones that have not been incredibly supportive in this. And it makes it a bit harder when that happens. So who wants to go? I don't see any utensils.
I forgot mine, so I'm gonna raise my remote. It's been one of those days. Mercury retrograde's fun. So I think what's interesting, so one of my good friends, she just recently transitioned about almost a year ago. And when she says things, it kind of triggers me about things that people have said to me. And one thing that I find is said to most people, and especially people that have a partner or, a best friend or family member that isn't doing the journey with them, it's, I wish we could eat together. And it's such a crap way of saying it because you're still eating with them. You just might not be eating the same thing. No. And that is such a frustrating thing for a vegan to hear. I wish you could just eat with me, because it's just, how are you supposed to respond to that? It's just it's a hard thing, I think. That's a big one for me, at least.
Kimberly.
Yeah, I was dumped by a guy because that was his reason. Years, and I was a vegetarian then, so like we could still go have pizza together or something like that. But he was really hell-bent on us sharing a pork chop, and I don't know why. But we were getting along so well, had no idea. I mean, I knew he was in food, but yeah, the one day he was like, exactly that. I wish we could eat together. And I was like, well, we do. And he's like, no, I want to be able to eat off your plate. I want you to eat off my plate. And I was like, why? It's my food.
I don't want
like,
people doing that anyway.
Yeah. He's like, no,
Especially now.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's how he ended it. So weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good riddance sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, she's happily married now, so everything's good. I see Dawn.
Yeah. So so the eating together thing. When Anthony, my husband and I first did the first 2-month run, where we tried it, there was no health scare, and it was just like, let me try this after seeing one of the documentaries. He wasn't. I mean, he did when I made it, and I've cooked all the time because that's what I do in the business. But he was like, I'm not going to do this vegan thing. I'll try it for 30 days, but I don't really want to do this. It didn't bother me. It actually didn't. And of course, we had the 2 kids in the house, the blended family. So it was like everybody ate what I cooked. I have a little bell and everything, like the Alice Bell. You all know this. And with the Mel's Diner bell. But after the time, it didn't. I guess it didn't really matter because I would have had to have. I didn't have a good enough why, so that time didn't take. When it took, and I had a good enough why to make it permanent, and it was an immediate thing, and it didn't really matter. But we you can eat with, like Kimberly said and what Laura said, you can eat with vegan. I eat all the time with people who aren't vegan, but they don't invite you over to their house. It's funny. You can only go out to eat with them. I don't get invited out to people's houses anymore. I feel like they think I'm going to judge them, even though I've shown that I'm not over these years now. I think at first I was very staunch. You can only imagine how I was initially. So I'm really calm now, if you can believe that. So it's just like you go out to eat with my sister, for instance. She eats chicken, she eats everything, even though she has health issues, chronic diseases. And I don't say anything because I've already said it. So I think it's just a stereotype. They just have a stigma in their mind that you're going to say something that you're not saying. And sometimes it reminds them that they're doing something that's not healthful in the cases of people I've been around. So that's kind of the pushback I got. They don't want to eat with you. So I got the same thing, but not in the same way as Kimberly did. And kind of similar to what Laura got, this idea of I can't really eat with you, but they just didn't invite me over. Like they have dinner party and you really don't get invited over. And sometimes you do, but it's like crudité with a vegan ranch, with the ranch dip in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like you're the smelly kid at school, that nobody wants to play with.
And nobody tells you. It's like, you just, nobody tells you that. But
right. Anyway,
it didn't affect my desire to be vegan, but it was one of the crappy things that happened. Mm-hmm. One of those things that you're like, I'm trying to welcome you in. I'm not trying to judge you, but you have to prove that you're not trying to be judgy. You have to almost prove it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they think automatically defense, generally speaking. And you're automatically judging them and you're at a moral high ground. Mm-hmm. And it's not true for most of us. But at least this group. It's not true for us. But
right. I mean, insisting on being a vegan among omnivore is the loudest statement you can do without saying a word. And that's what people are reacting to when I don't even have to say anything. People bring it up because it's their conscious that, that just starts to mess with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they'll ask, like, how many times have you been asked, is it okay if I eat this in front of you?
Yeah, that's
so many times.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, you're good. I used to say no. But I used to say no. I used to say no. You can't eat that. I don't want to be around. You can eat that.
Yeah.
When I had the kids in the house, they couldn't even bring. There's no animal allowed in my house even now. Like you can't bring your Taco Bell ground beef in my house. You can eat out in the car or something, but you can't eat it in my house. Now we can go out to eat, but if I'm at your house, I don't have those rules.
Right.
But in my house, those are the rules. Them's the rules, as they say.
Yeah. Plus,
I
it's
used to get it a lot historically.
It's not going into my body. I was going to say it's not going into my body, so it's not good. But the one thing that I absolutely refuse. I turned my house vegan after having game nights with all different people, and they brought over roasted rotisserie chicken and would eat that in front of me. And then then my house went 100% vegan for anybody coming over, because one of the most disgusting things on the planet is watching somebody eat a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
It's so repulsive that I was like, that is I mean, I'm normally like fine with people eating what they're eating, and obviously at a table I can ignore you. I have a very, very good ignore button. But if you're like right in front of me and you're like slobbering and the juice, it's like getting all over everything, it's on your arms. I mean, really, right?
Yeah.
On your arms? You're so
the juice is dripping down their arms because you use your fingers to eat it. I mean,
Yeah, they're
it's
like
just
tearing pieces off. Oh.
I love where Marla
bones in your
Who are
mouth,
these
and I'm like,
people?
you
I
have a
don't know
bone
these
in your
people.
mouth.
Yeah. No, the worst is watching somebody eat bone marrow. I think that is the worst thing I've ever seen somebody eat. It's just spooning out bone marrow. And I used to see it in Chicago all the time. One of my friends worked at a restaurant in Wicker Park, and they served it there, and I would go there and get a cocktail and kind of wait for her to get off of work. And it's just, they love it. It's just one of the most repulsive things. I mean, I can't imagine living in like the UK. Imagine the crap they eat over there.
Right.
I mean, haggis.
Or Asia.
My God, we're pretty fortunate to have rotisserie chicken and ribs compared to that.
But they eat better vegan. They eat they're cleaner,
That is true.
But they're cleaner vegans than us, and even
Oh,
their
yeah.
junky junk food is better than ours. There's some of the preservatives, this crap we have in our stuff on the shelf. They run for the hills. They're like, what is wrong with the American diet? The
food is made
diet.
differently, and they're
It
more
is.
Yeah, it's a
environmentally
little-
conscious as well.
Yes, they are. So
Yep.
gross on the haggis, but then of course they're better.
Gross on the
tomato
meat.
stuff.
Yeah, the meat stuff is weird.
Let's
Yeah.
go to Marla. Marla, I saw.
Well,
it.
I was just going to say, I think there is a lot of that kind of that really disgusting, as as Laura was saying, that like snout to tail movement, nasty, like eating the offal, OFFAL, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and just like the various ligaments and but for myself, excuse me, I'm gonna go vomit for a minute. But
Right?
Sorry. For myself, it's easy to detach when there's not bones involved. When it gets into that like bones being piled on a plate thing, that's when it starts getting real gross, and it's not a judgment. It's just, it truly is an aesthetic, disgusting, it's a response of disgust. It's not a response of disgust at this individual. It's just like, this is a corpse that is slowly, being put on a plate and, devoured in front of me. It's gross. And so for whatever reason, people are very afraid of being judged. Judgment is one of those things that really scares people, like in a fundamental, like and I don't fully understand the psychology of it, but that's part of the reason why people are so defensive about us. Whether we say anything or not, we represent that. So,
Yeah.
Sangeeta.
I think it's. Oh, go ahead.
Wait, Sangeeta next.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I think more than what people will say, more than that, what's important is how we react to it. Because they have said whatever they have said, most of it is out of ignorance or guilt. But how we react to that will decide what happens after that. And I have learned it the hard way, is if you are eating and you're just, people are making comments about your being vegan, just let it go at that time. I think that's, in my opinion, the best way. And then later on, you can follow up indirectly or directly, but not say anything when everyone is eating. I think it is a good approach. What do you guys think? What do you girls think?
I think that that's a very good point. Because we feel this way, and because there's almost a duplicity about veganism, because you are kind of judging, but you kind of have to hide the judgment, but you want to be not judgmental. There's this whole thing because the second they already think you're judgmental because there's defense, and then you really are judging because you're thinking about their health, you're thinking about the environment, thinking about the animal, whatever boat you came in on, or whatever number of things. But you can't show it because of what Sangeeta says, because there's already a defense system up, and you can't react because then you're going to turn them off, right? So you want to, and then you can't talk about it like Sangeeta said at the dinner table, because I've been at holiday tables and it's almost like a trap. So you're at the holiday table and there are 10 people at the table, you know, pre-COVID, where you can have 10 people at the table, and then you're at the table and they say, "Why are you vegan?" And what's this vegan thing? Why do you know? If you answer it there, you're going to turn off 7 people that didn't ask you, or 8 people. And that's not the way you want to present the information. So like Sangeeta said, you say, it's better for the health, better for the, I'd love to talk, better for my health. I feel great. Let's talk. I'm happy to talk to you after we eat. I learned to do that because that really worked. Because if they're really interested, they'll follow up, and everybody's nobody's tense anymore, because the other 7 or 8 people are tense. Because you're about to answer a question while they're eating the very thing you're going to talk about. They don't want to deal with it right at the one person had a question. So I agree with Sangeeta. It's just a matter of timing, and just pulling people that are really interested will talk to you to the side. Everybody's curious, but it's a trap. It's a trap. Don't do it.
All I think of is Star Wars when you say that. Yes.
It's a trap.
Yeah. I really like what Renu said here too on a few things. One, the first thing she was talking about was her kids. She just made this transition, and her kids don't get enough nutrients or they think they won't get enough nutrients from veggies and fruits. I would love to hear, I've been on the child side of it, but I'd love to hear like Marla or Sangeeta. Did you guys deal with this? Dawn, I don't know if you have kids or not, but
yeah, I have 2 kids.
You did.
2 grown
so
kids.
Did you deal with this too? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on how you dealt with that on the parenting level.
Well, my daughter has been vegan since conception, and she has not known anything differently. And she's touch wood, she's healthy, happy, just a normal, just turned teenager. And she has had occasions when she could have chosen to eat something not vegan, but she chose not to. And I can also see the difference between her health and her peers' health and her energy level, and how she has the stamina. She can just go on and on and on, hiking or playing, and when sometimes her friends will get tired, but she can go on. So I have not had to deal with those issues just because she's been always vegan.
Right. And Marla?
My son too, vegan since conception. And when I was expecting my son in 2002, there was just a lot less support and information. It's just it's much easier now, I think, to plug into stuff. But I had his his pediatrician was someone I really trusted, and she wasn't vegan herself, but her attitude is, as long as he's thriving, we're good, and reaching the different benchmarks and all of that. So I think a lot of it depends on finding a physician who is educated and supports your decision, doesn't come in with all kinds of ridiculousness,
Right.
So one of the things we did too for my son, this is not the health angle as much as like the emotional and mental health angle, is we created a vegan family network for him or not for him specifically, but for our community when he was very little. And so we had monthly potlucks and special events for holidays, and like a big old Halloween party and Thanksgiving where they got to eat all the food. And
that is so cool.
I think that was really important and such a good part of his memories now as an 19-year-old. So
yeah. Dawn, how about you? Any advice?
I have a 19 and a 26-year-old, right? So we have a blended Anthony. Each of us brought one to the table. So 19-year-old is an environmental studies major and is a sophomore in school. She eats vegan here, but of course I wasn't vegan when they were, we've been married 12 years, going on 13. So I wasn't vegan the whole time. My daughter, the 26-year-old, was a USTA and a Division I collegiate tennis athlete. So I was feeding her cheese sticks and boiled eggs. I hear somebody's vacuum. Somebody's going to town.
I know, I hear that too.
House is clean. That house is clean. But anyway, she ate boiled eggs and those kind of things, and I was feeding that to her because, of course, in my mind, protein tennis tournaments are very long, very grueling, and it's a very. But she, so now, when she was going off to college, now I'm vegan, and she was now in school and in full athletics. I mean, on scholarship. So she's vegetarian now. My 26-year-old, and the 19-year-old is vegan at home and vegetarian most of the other time. So I mean, I just didn't get a chance to really settle that all in. They understand. They've seen What the Health. They've seen Forks Over Knives. They've been provided numerous websites. They both taught to Dr. Mills a one-on-one. In Baxter Montgomery. My daughter's super stubborn, is 26, and my bonus daughter, is really, she's not ready, but she's in it. She'll get there. I think she'll get there. My daughter, she may or may not get there. I don't know. She has if you don't get it from Dr. Mills and Baxter Montgomery and these folks, and What the Health and Forks Over Knives and Game Changer, there's nothing I can say to you. But then when they're home, they eat all my vegan food. They love it. They said if I was there here all the time, they do it. But so it's been an interesting journey because they weren't from birth. We all ate animals at that time.
That's interesting.
That's really important. Yeah, Laura, that was a great question. I want to touch on something that Renee said in regards to that. Do this one. She feels left out when to go to friends' place. They have to make some efforts and to add something on the table for us. They feel bad if there's not much food for us. Well, let me just explain one thing. If they invited you over to their house, they also invited you to make food for you. Because if they know you're vegan and they invited you over, they didn't just invite you over for company and just provide food for everybody else. Then they either give suggestions. I always bring something just because I want to be able to eat something just in case. And everyone else eats it too, except for like those people that you see something labeled vegan. They're like, oh, this looks great. Oh, wow, look at that. Is this like mac and cheese? Oh, Helene made it. Oh, I'm not eating that. It's vegan. Right. That's the other that's the other side of the problem when it comes to like, oh, this looks amazing. Oh, it's vegan. I'm not trying that.
Yeah.
It's everything in this dish is something that you probably eat. But what's wrong with you? But if people invite you over to their house, then it's their responsibility to make food that you can eat and not just bread and salad that happens to be part of the meal that they've prepared for the rest of the guests that are coming. That is a really big problem because it really pisses me off because then I'd rather not be invited. If you're not going to you made the effort for the meat eaters, but you're not going to make the effort for the vegan.
I don't know if so I'm opposite on that one. I'm happy. So you rarely get invited over. At least Anthony and I rarely get invited. So when I get the invite, of course they know I'm going to bring some farro salad, something. I'm going to bring something. And it's my chance to introduce another opportunity to take a swipe at the vegan taste bud, right? And they're only going to have, I already know what they're going to have. I already ate before I got there. I want to be there so that I might have impact. Yeah. They invited me because we get so few invites now. I mean, to come to someone else's home, this is like score. I'm like, woohoo! This is because and I don't care what they make me. They can make me a salad because I'm gonna be like, thank you. And let me let you try this this chickpea nacho tuna salad. Let me let you try this thing with some crusty bread. You have some crusty bread? Then get them engaged and involved. It's almost an opportunity. I'd rather them not make it because it gives me a chance to get in the kitchen with them sometimes if it's girls, right? And then we can jump in the kitchen.
Yeah. I always bring food too.
They still should make food for you. I'm not going to step away from that.
They make the salad.
No, they should make the same effort they make for the meat eaters. It doesn't have to be like extreme, but if they're going to invite you over, it's a good opportunity to have the conversation ahead of time of, well, I'm happy to make something. And they ask the questions, well, what can I make you? Because if they are good people and good friends of yours, they want to make you something and you can help educate them on what they can do ahead of time in order to be able to prepare it. Here's some recipes, here's some suggestions, here's some groceries you can buy if that's whatever it is. You can start that conversation. But I mean, I have family that would invite me over and literally feed me bread and lettuce. And I'm like, why did you invite me over? They don't
Because they wanted
anymore.
to see you. They wanted to see you.
Well, don't invite me for a meal then. Invite me just to come over at 3 p.m. when I've already eaten. And don't say come over for dinner and then literally not prepare a single thing for me.
Because I
That's
do
not
food
that's
for-
not inviting me
yeah.
to dinner. That's an afterthought. And there's one thing that I don't want to be in anyone's life is an afterthought. The respect, as Susan said, the respect has to be there. Otherwise, the message is great for veganism, but it's not great enough that I'm going to let you disrespect me by inviting me over to your house and literally having me be an afterthought.
I don't
Nope.
consider it so as a chef and someone who makes food all the time and has a cookbook author, everyone feels like my food's gonna be better than theirs, and they feel intimidated. It's very intimidating for them. So they're no, this is not a joke. Literally, they only want to make edamame salad because it's in my book. So they're like, you know, and they're not gonna. So they want to taste I sell food. I have a cookbook. So maybe it's different because of those aspects for you than I. But when I know that there's an intimidation factor, even though it's false, it's just like the idea that I'm judging your plate. I'm not. But the idea is the effort. I understand. But I understand why people don't cook. They feel they're like, it's not, is it good? How is it? Did I do it right?
It's intimidating. It's intimidating for people that don't cook vegan. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. And then I do it for a living. And then I sell books.
Right.
I go and talk about it all the time, and I do it online. They're like, I can't do it like her. And they don't want, so that's been my experience. But it's different for you, Helene, because you're not doing that particular, you're doing Veg Fest. So they know you have a high palate. Here's another thing for you. You do Veg Fest. They know that you tasted every single type and variation of vegan cuisine. So the bar is high. So they're probably in this mindset of theirs. In many cases, maybe just food for thought. It may be judgment that they're judging. They're feeling like they're not going to meet the bar.
Yeah. I would invite you over all the time. If I had a friend that was a cookbook author of the food, of any food, mind you, of a cookbook author and cooks for a living, you'd be invited always, because I'd be like, oh, I know she's going to cook. So how much are you going to cook? Can you bring more than just one dish? Because then I can make less.
Yeah.
But
and I like what Dawn said too, where you know you get a joy out of them trying it and tasting it and enjoying it and not really realizing that it's vegan. That's the joy that I get from bringing food, like holidays, Christmas barbecues, especially getting people like, even though it's not like the best, I love my black bean burgers that are made from scratch, but I'll bring over Beyond Burgers just to get them to eat something different. You know, that one change is okay. You know, so I get really excited about that too. Like, you know, vegan potato salad, vegan macaroni salad, you know, all the stuff that they don't normally have. Or like, you know, I made a seitan turkey for Thanksgiving. How many people get to have that? Not very often, but it's good. And it's not the tofurkey from 92. It's come a long way. So, you know, it's very exciting where we are. And I'm with you, Dawn. I love to see I get a lot of pleasure out of watching people eat my vegan food and enjoy it. And that it's all gone by the end of the night.
Right. But do you have any
chill
at all? Do you have any chill when they're eting your food, or do you like stare at them?
Oh, I totally stare at them. I'm totally like creepy. I'm like you.
You're creepy? You're trolling? Oh, no, I don't. I'm so arrogant and so sad. I'm like, I know it's smashed, so I know you're going to come over here and you're going to cut me out. I'm so, like, my mind is blown. I'm like, I know you're going to fall out. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm expecting that. I just don't even look because I already know. I'm like, oh my God, how did you do this? I'm like,
well, see, I'm like that even with my son who's vegan since birth. It's like before he eats his dinner, I'm like, how is it? You know? I get very like clumsy about that.
Yeah, I'm the same
way. One thing I was going to mention is one little trick I used to do when my son would be invited to birthday parties, and you know, before the internet where people could spy on before Facebook, where people could spy on what your, you know, likes and dislikes and stuff like that is I would just reach out to the host family and just say, hi, we're a vegan family. Thank you so much for inviting my son to the birthday party. What can we bring? You know, and it would just be very straightforward, you know. And so I would make sure that he had his own cake, you know, piece of cake, not a whole cake. But
the cake is a big deal. Yeah,
it's a super big deal.
The cake is a big deal. Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Or a cupcake.
Yes. Yeah. And so like what I would ask too is like, what are you serving the other, what are you planning to serve? And so if it was like hot dogs or burgers or whatever, I'd make the same version for Justice, and then they would plate it in the kitchen and bring it out, with so it just was very seamless, but anyway, I think that the same kind of approach could apply to regular grown-up stuff. Is just reach out and say, hey, what can I bring? We're vegan, so I'd love to
Yeah.
bring
Yeah, I do the exact same thing with my daughter also. Now most of our friends know we are vegan, so usually if they invite her, they would have a vegan cake, but if not, they will tell me to send her with a cupcake or something, and
Right.
I'm happy to do that.
right.
Another challenge is I don't trust them. Sometimes not
Right.
them, because they may put something. Either two things have happened. Two
Yeah.
experiences. You might not get that is yogurt. That's not you. You don't even know there's vegan yogurt or vegan sour cream. What did you put in there? And when I ask the question now, I'm almost leaning offensive. So I'm very funky about my vegan food. And then if it doesn't taste, if you can't cook regular food, and then you're cooking me this somewhat bland, and then you're cooking me vegan food, I know it's gonna. You didn't put any seasoning on here, girl. So, and then I have to eat it, and
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know how you like, and then they're trolling me like, do you like it? And I'm like, yeah.
So good.
Like, no, I don't like it, but I can't tell them because they went out of the way. So I'd rather them let me play, have fun with them. And then because if you make it nasty, my face is I'm not good at the thing.
You're not a poker.
No.
I can't play poker. Me? Yeah.
I did not pick up on that at all, Dawn. I did not.
No, I'm an actress.
You and Laura are the two non-poker faces. Big time.
It's so true. I cannot hide my expression.
Yeah. So I can't. So don't make me fool. I just try not. Don't do it. Just let me.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. Oh,
It's a nice try.
What? What did you make me? Oh,
Yeah, thanks for the Morningstar Farms.
It has egg whites. Most
Which
likely has
up
egg
until
whites in
recently
it.
was a vegan. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have to look. Then I'm like, what did you use? What kind of scramble? Oh, you used that one, and I know it's not vegan. I'm not gonna eat it. See, then I'm
Right.
asking too many questions. I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I get
Yeah.
nervous about the utensils. Like, let's say they're making mashed potatoes for the
Didn't think
meat
about
eaters,
that.
and they're also going to make mashed potatoes for me. And without thinking, maybe they stir the same spoon with the same spoon, or whatever meat dish they're making,
For
and then
me,
they
it's the grill.
yeah.
The grill's
true,
a big
too.
problem. A grill
Nice.
out. I mean, I bring my own grill mat to barbecue. I do. I bring my own grill mat, and I'm like,
Life
here's
of the
this,
party.
and here's this. Have fun. You
And
know?
this is why they think we're moral high ground. This is why they go, oh no, don't invite the vegans. Oh no,
I was gonna
Right.
say, I didn't
Don't
get
do
invited
that.
to places.
You're doing too
Right.
much. I just bring the food in a container already, so it's not feeling funny.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
like I don't want you to feel. I'll bring the Beyond sausage and peppers, and I'll grill up the peppers and onions, and then bring the pretzel. This is very not healthy. Well, it's not. It's better than an animal, but it's
Right.
very oily. But you bring that, and that is so unctuous, and people love that. And then you put the peppers and onions, and you put the sausage, so you're ready, and you have the 3 containers. They get all excited. You don't get to have it. The problem is you can't eat it. You wanted to have 2, and you only get a half of one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people love it, and like we had my son's school over for back to school, and we had they were new at the time, Beyond Burgers and Beyond Sausages, and people just ate and ate and ate and ate. So when I'm hoping to have a block party this year, and they know that we're vegan, I think, on our block, because we have a big inflatable turkey every Thanksgiving that says "Don't eat me." So I'm guessing that
I guess they know.
But
I need to see that.
my thought is they will, like, I'm not going to go there with pinto bean burger or whatever. This is a community. They're going to try the Beyond, and they'll love it. So that's why I love that option, is because I know that people will eat that, and it's basically the same.
That's 201, 301, or level 3 or 4 course, not level 1, depending on who it is. You might have someone that will do it, and be okay and interested. But when I take people, for instance, to a restaurant when they're not vegan, and I don't take them straight to Oh My Soul. I would. Well, Oh My Soul has more diversity. I'm in Charlotte. but I don't take it to a restaurant that has something very minimalistic vegan.
Right.
I take it somewhere that
like
has like a
Sanctuary
lot of
Bistro?
flavor,
Kind of
Like,
indulgent and rich.
something that
Yeah.
has a little bit indulgent, so
Mhm.
that they get to indulge and they realize
Absolutely.
that it doesn't feel so omitting.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Right.
Mhm.
So, but that's not. Then I'll explain to them that the lifestyle can be very healthy, and that this may not be the healthiest approach. But this is definitely look at you're not going to miss anything that you have, and we can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
So-
transitional food, a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Transitional
it's the
food.
gateway
Yeah.
drug to veganism is
Mhm.
food. So
I mean, I
let's
didn't jump.
transition. Let's transition away from food because we could talk about food forever. And just something
all we
like
talk
when
about.
somebody turns vegan and they hear things like, well, plants feel pain.
Mm-hmm.
You
I heard
know,
that the other day.
so I mean, even now, I don't even dignify it with a response because like what you're
Yeah.
like a moron when you say that. So,
Mhm.
but what do you say?
They don't
I
have a
said-
central nervous
Yeah,
system.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not something.
Well, I don't even go there. I say that it's not about them, it's about you. Do you, when you see a apple on a tree, don't you want to get it and eat it right there? But if you see a chicken, do you feel like chasing it and twisting
Taking a
its
bite.
neck and taking a bite out of that? You know, it doesn't matter whether, let's assume that plants have life, and plants have life, not assume, but let's assume that they even have feelings. But is that something that affects you? We want to be connected to ourselves, to our own mind and body. That's how I respond.
So I saw it on the YouTube. Something I saw on YouTube, and then I heard it the other day. So when I was in college, I was vegan for a month. Now I wasn't. I was vegetarian because I ate the eggs, right? And someone told me plants have feelings. This is like 2 months in college, a million years ago, and I went with that. I was like, you know what, you're right. I mean, then I went and got something gross like McDonald's at the time, because I was like, you're absolutely right, and I just blew 2 months off like immediately. And I was only vegetarian. But it depends on your audience, right? So if it's a church going, if somebody churchy, I'm going to go Genesis 127 and 128, 127 through 29 or something, and talk about, what God said about that. If that's a Christian person that I'm speaking to, if it's someone, that's immediate. And then of course, if it's somebody logical, I go with what Laura said, which is it doesn't have a central nervous system. It doesn't. And then of course I go by the colors, and I can talk about the colors and how they're trying to attract you for not only to eat, and that they're helpful. Depends on who I'm talking to. Yeah, it always depends on that. I don't have a scripted answer for each one, but I do try to address it so that they don't think so they understand that there's something more to it. But it's nothing wrong if you ignore it, but I try to address it.
Marla?
I tend to say, like, if it's in person and you can discern if it's a legitimate question, rather than an online troll. Like if you're genuinely curious about this, I'm happy to discuss this with you. And but if it's some rando just trying to poke, that's not worth our time. You can.
Right.
I mean, one thing that can be helpful.
Yeah.
It's a troll.
Yeah.
It's a troll, which a lot of times it's a troll thing to say plants
Yeah.
feel, right?
Right.
And your husband is made probably the best comment ever. I don't know if you saw it, but if someone tells me plants feel pain, I say
It's
you
pretty
must really
great.
feel sadistic when you mow the lawn. And mowing the lawn, and mowing, actually raking leaves. It's mowing the lawn I get because height and lawn and everything, and snakes and all that. But raking leaves, don't do it, because what's in those leaves? A whole ecosystem of insects that need those leaves to be there. So just leave them alone, and you know what? Everything's fine because we don't rake leaves, and our
I
grass
don't
is
either.
those insects, and for the birds and the whole like Mother Nature, planet Earth, animal system. We do so many things to screw that up. If we're going to go into environment, so many things to mess with it, and there are so many things. I mean, who wants to go rake the leaves? You know what? Don't. do the minimalistic things you have to do to your lawn. Please, no chemicals. I hate when neighbors put the chemicals on their lawn. It not only harms the whole environmental aspect of your water, the air, the other animals, your dogs walking, getting on their paws, the cats, all
Well, and
the
the
insects.
microbiome in our soil is dying. That's the
Right.
biggest problem.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
One
And the
of-
other thing I like to say too to that point is if you kill an animal and it lays on the ground, what happens? It decays. If you eat an apple core and you throw it on the ground, it's going to grow a tree.
Mm.
To me, that tells me which one I should be eating.
Mm. Yeah, and one
Well,
other. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead,
Sangeeta.
Sangeeta. I thought.
Well,
go ahead.
One other thing that a lot of Indian people say, like plants have feelings, like kind of thing, is cows have too much milk.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also
And-
hear pesticides are on vegetables.
Yeah, I hear that.
I get that
too.
too.
That's a huge one. And I'm like, okay, how many troughs and gallons and millions of gallons do you have to eat of that to have any impact?
Right,
All
but
of that-
also
right.
the animals they're eating have eaten that, so it's not
Right.
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 That's then there's
Yeah,
the counter argument. Right.
Right.
With that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Sangeeta, what do you say to those people that say that cows have too much milk?
Honestly, I mean, that is a level of ignorance that I just don't respond.
I just was so curious to hear your comeback.
Sangeeta always come back. Sangeeta always says ignorance. That's a level of ignorance. I'm not
Yeah.
answering that question.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
her
sure
go-to.
the cows
That's
agree.
her go-to.
They know
Too
nothing.
much, too much milk because you took their calf away. That should be drinking it. Because once the baby doesn't eat it anymore, guess what happens? The milk dries up. Because are you in a relationship with a woman who's had a kid? I mean, do you not understand how milk is produced by a
No, they
mammal, by a female?
That's the thing, Helene. They do not understand. They think cows always give milk like
Right.
like fruit grows on a tree. They think that cows always give milk.
Right.
Even I did not make that connection until I became a mother myself.
Yeah, just pop your breast out and squeeze it and see if anything comes out of it.
Right.
It's not
Any
that
given
kind
point.
of show, Colleen. I was just going to say that what Sangeeta brings up is a really important point as to why it's important for us to be educated on these different matters. So I didn't grow up in farm country. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, so I didn't have like cows walking around me. People often will comment on Vegan Street's posts, like from the dairy industry, if we don't milk them, their udders will explode. If you don't know any better, as I didn't the first time I was challenged on being vegan as a new vegan at like age 26 or whatever by someone who quote unquote came from farm country that cows naturally produce milk. Thankfully I had the time and the energy and the resources to interrogate that better. But at the time, I just kind of took her. I didn't know, But that's why it's important to do this research,
Oh yeah. And then we'll go another step is with fish. The fish don't feel pain. Fish don't have vocal cords. Because if they did, they would scream.
And they will die anyways. That's another thing.
Well, I mean, if Kurt Cobain says it's true, it must be, right?
Fish do have a central nervous system,
Yes, they
unlike
do.
plants, and they
Yeah.
do feel pain. They just can't verbalize it because they don't have vocal cords. So as much as you think that fish is like I don't feel so badly about that. Well, there's a whole environmental factor with that too, with doing fish and taking them from the ocean, and what's in that fish, the mercury that you're putting into your bodies when you eat it, and depleting our oceans and the dead zones. There's just, and how they fish and how they get the fish and how the dolphins and the sea turtles all end up in there. And of course, industries like to make the most money. And in the fish industry, when they take in that excess and that they can't farm or sell, who eats that? Who eats all the stuff that they can't actually sell? They feed it to cows. They sell it to that industry. So your vegetarian cows are eating fish, and that is that's I guess
But plants feel pain, right? They're convinced of that.
Poor vegetarian
Well, I mean-
cows eating fish.
Well, I just feel that it's just why that's why it's so important that when we become vegan, we need to go and really go to pcrm.org, nutritionfacts.org, Plant-Based Nation, watch these films and documentaries, and then go get some books and get some facts and data, because we become that vegetator for everyone we interface with, even if it's one-on-one or in small group. And when we don't have this information, that it's important for us to change our behaviors, food behavior and lifestyle behavior, but it's important for us to educate ourselves so that we can answer those questions, because no matter what, we're always the teacher. And if we don't have the information, it's lost to the people may or may not get it. So we just have to be careful about always educating ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah, initially I used to bring those pamphlets with me everywhere I went. And if someone says your daughter's not going to get enough calcium, I'll just hand the pamphlet.
That's amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
PCRM has those wonderful pamphlets. PCRM has those wonderful page things where they'll give it to you. It's free. They'll give you
It's
those
free,
pamphlets
yeah.
and things.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have next door to me is the house full of those pamphlets. Again, I'm
And
not
then-
kidding.
And then actually, what is this? The vegan African American vegan starter guide.
Yep.
Farm Sanctuary Prince, these you can have. They're free. Like, and they give you. So there's just so many things.
Mhm.
It's not mine. That's Tracy McGuirter. But anyway, there's just so much information out there. We just need to know it or give it out, like
Yeah.
Sangeeta said.
Yep.
Have it with us.
And what's incredible is, there's all these resources that Dawn said, but each and every one of us is a resource for anyone that's watching. And you can reach out to any of us on any of our platforms, and I promise you that we will help you. We will not push you away. we want to be there. And if you have obviously any questions, or you're too shy to write them in the comments, you don't want us to address you, whatever that is, please do, because we know the struggle. We know the BS that you can run into. We know that people can be mean. And we know there's a ton of support as well. There's a ton of support out there. And now more than ever. So, and that's a great thing. So ladies, anyone else have anything to say?
Just
Find
want to
your
add, I
tribe.
also love the
Okay.
the comment of if we don't eat animals, they're going to overpopulate the earth. That's also one of my favorite.
Yes.
I wanted to bring that up last week for rebuttal, but we got off topic, obviously. But that's my personal favorite, is that they're gonna overrun us.
And
which I
wouldn't
think
that
is
be a
hilarious.
great thing for the planet?
Wouldn't it? It really would.
Oh,
It really would.
oh no, not really, but yes.
I mean,
But
we
it's just so
we are
stupid. 'Cause
not
It's
the-
like, how many
It is
animals
stupid.
do we have right now just so you can eat them? So if
Right.
they're in their natural habitat, you think somehow it's going to be more than factory farming? That makes no sense.
Well, if you
It
did,
just
getting rid of factory and farming removes the overpopulation of animals, and 70% of the the land is for animal grazing and livestock.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
humans live on 30% of land. I mean, at this point.
Yeah.
So it's craziness. But
Yeah.
find your
More
vegan environment. There's the
Mhm.
ethical vegans. You got to find your tribe in veganism.
Right.
important to
That's
have
what
a
I say.
support system.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's not your family, and it could be a good friend. And
Right.
a lot of people live in places where they don't know any other vegans. I mean, Kimberly
Yeah.
was one of them, even though you're in New Jersey, which I still don't get, but they were there. You just didn't find them. So
Yeah.
people live in like these small cities where, like towns, not even a city, a small town, where they made this decision. And then you see the comments on Facebook, I live in such and such, and I don't know anybody else. Does anyone want to be friends? Just, be discerning like you would be with anyone that you want to be friends with, because just because they're vegan doesn't mean that they're nice
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
or supportive. Just
Or-
you
Really vegan.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Continue.
most likely your supports will not come from your family. You
Mhm.
have to find it someplace else, and online or offline.
Or at the stew.
agreed.
Yeah.
Or at the
Yeah.
stew.
Mhm.
There you
And
go.
this too, yeah.
We'll be your support weekly. We'll be here with you, except for the first Wednesday of every month. Then you can look at Coach Kayla, and she'll support you too. So, all right, ladies, I'm gonna put you in the green room and close out this show. You're all amazing.
Bye.
So here we go. It's bye to Dawn, bye to Kimberly, bye to Marla, bye to Sankita, and bye to Laura. Well, thank you once again for watching The Vegan Stew. Like I said, we just closed with, we are here every Wednesday except for the first one at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the first Wednesday of the month, it's Coach Kayla, and she'll talk to you about nutrition and dietitian and all that. Susan, thank you. Well, thank you, Susan, because you are one of most of avid supporters of everything that we do. So we love you very much. And Renew, thank you. It's good to see you as a new person is for at least writing this week. So, and if you need anything, let us know, because you're on a new journey, and with the kids not wanting to do it, just cook good food. Cook good food. That really helps. So if you don't know how to cook, like, I don't know, get one of Dawn's cookbooks so she can reduce some recipes. That'd be amazing. That's right, urbaneats.com. So we will see you next week with some topic that is called, it's episode 17. Next week, it should be something around vegan jobs and balancing your work with your ethics. And that will be Kimberly hosting, which would be great. We typically keep our topics, maybe not. We'll just kind of see what next week happens. And subscribe to The Vegan Stew on YouTube. Please hit the notification button so you know when we go live. We really appreciate your support and helping to grow this. In virtualvettrust.com, into the contest there, hit the little contest tab, and be kind. It's kind of how I ended the show. Probably need to get a mask, a backup here, so that wear it right over your nose, under your chin. Not a single layer cloth mask, because that's how we progressed in 2 years. I think you need to wear like a really good mask and get vaccinated and get boosted, and be kind and considerate of not just the planet and not just the other animals that share the planet with us, but the other humans that we share it with too. Because that is, I feel, and also an important part of being vegan: the animals, the planet, the other humans, and your health, because we all love talking about food. We will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.